And good morning, and welcome to a special edition of Truth to Power. And I'm your host, Darwin Griffin. And we are going to be joined in the first hour with a young lady who I had longed to meet. I had been seeing her at a lot of events, and I had also been seeing her on Facebook. So it seemed like every time I would go on a Facebook page, I would bump into her name. And it seems like everybody just knew who my first special guest is of this 2-hour segment, and that is Amanda Treppa, and we're going to get to the conversation with her shortly. But just to do a quick little housekeeping before we get started, that today, this is our pre-Thanksgiving Day show. So everybody knows that we've got Turkey Day coming up next week. But, we pray that everyone, there's a lot of turkey giveaways this is going to be going on throughout the community. And maybe that may be something that, Ms. Treppa, I know she's out and about in the community, that she may be able to enlighten us, on some of the turkey giveaways that may be existing around the communities that she's in and involved in. But to watch the show today, you can watch the show on 313watkins.com. Again, that's 313watkins.com. And then you can also watch us on our other platforms too, with Roku and Amazon. But the thing is that we also want you to have a great, great holiday. This is the weekend that everybody gets together to decide what relatives are going to spend the vacation, the vacation, because it's a lot of times people have a 4-day weekend, a 4-day vacation where they celebrate Thanksgiving. Then there's the awesome Black Friday that comes up the day after Thanksgiving. And we pray that everybody stays warm, stays safe, because there's usually a lot of lines at some of the retail stores for some hot ticket items. So again, be cordial, be courteous to everyone, and realize too, everybody's there for the same reason, and they're trying to go and get some good buys. But today, we have a very, very special guest, and she has a story to tell, and she wants you to be aware of her. I'll kind of preface it and say the life that she leads as an activist, the life that she leads as a proud mother of a superhero, and also the life that she wants to lead when it comes down to representing the districts in the Oakland and Macomb County. But without further ado, let me bring up my very, very special guest, and her name is Amanda Treppa. Amanda Treppa, welcome to Truth to Power today.
Thank you. Good morning. I appreciate that warm introduction.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on the show with us today. But tell our viewing audience a little bit about who Amanda Treppa is.
Well, you highlighted a couple points of definitely being...
but probably 2 out of the maybe millions of other points that I could have brought up. Go ahead.
I like to say I'm a lot like an onion, but I just smell better with a lot of layers. Like, truthfully, there's always a lot more.
Did you like that one, Tim?
I smell a lot better, but there's a lot of layers there, right? Yes, I am an activist, advocate. I'm really proud as I'll get out to be a mom. More than anything, that comes first. And I'm an HR professional, and that came at now the peak, I'd probably say, one of the peaks of my career. That didn't start that way, right? I was a foster kid. My mom was a sex worker. We lived at 8 Mile in Van Dyke was the last place that I saw her. And I was in and out of foster care until I was taken in and adopted, about 7.5, 8, and grew up in Sterling Heights. And it was great as far, especially as the education that I was able to have. And I love the arts. And that's where I found a really big passion and wanted to be able to keep excelling and go to New York. But I went to Western Michigan for acting. And
well, like I said in the green room before we got on,
yeah.
Everybody couldn't go to state, but that's another story. But go ahead.
But Western Michigan's theater program is phenomenal, and
my brother went to Western. So,
oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
Go Broncos. And then I like your brother. But but it was a great experience, and then I went to New York. And when I first moved to New York, I lived on a blow-up mattress in the living room.
I'm sorry, you say you lived on a what mattress?
Blow-up mattress in the
Okay.
living room of an apartment on the Upper West Side as a struggling actor, just adjusting and booking commercials and TV, and did some theater. Eventually had a normal apartment after working really hard. But after some time, I really wanted to be able to find a more sustainable way to live, bill paying wise, and find a new way to put my, I guess, talents out there in a way that I could give back to people. And I found myself in the fitness world in yoga because I loved practicing yoga, and took a job that I thought was going to be a front desk job, survival job for a bit. And it ended up launching me into a 10-year career, going down the path of being a regional manager and building up training programs, going into luxury fitness and educating there. And I loved getting all my certifications to be able to teach classes as well. And then I realized that the corporate America structure wasn't built for us and for parents in particular and women, when I went through a miscarriage at work, as well as a really hard pregnancy that was my beautiful daughter on the other side. And I realized if I wanted people to not go through what I had gone through, because the cycles were very similar, how I started my life in and out of foster care, right? And then I saw how it correlated with what I went through as a mom, and in the cycle that I had to go change laws and policy. And I started becoming a workplace psychological safety advocate, focusing on mental health, making sure people are supported in the workplace, trying to push bills and policy through out east, and then came home. And I've been doing that here ever since. And I took a job at Detroit Action, and they allowed me to build an HR department, which was the one I wish I had had.
They allowed you to build it?
Yeah.
How did you feel when they gave you that responsibility?
Really honored, and I thought it was just divine timing and alignment. Truly, it was. We've never really had a fully built HR department. We follow, like, obviously compliance and rules, regulations, but what does it look like if you build an employee life cycle that really supports people and helps tell people how to navigate systems even once they leave here? So even if you take a temporary canvassing job, we give you the tools to understand why it's important to put everything in writing. Why you're able to hold people accountable, so that even when you leave our employment at Detroit Action, you can take a job anywhere and be able to navigate it safely, psychologically, feel supported, and understand what your rights are.
So when you talk about making certain that you have everything in writing, stress about the importance of having everything in writing.
You need something in writing because you need to find something that could always be held up in a court of law to hold people accountable. It protects you, it protects me, as well as the person who is trying to process all this documentation, keep things in line. And I tell them, I'm like, please, you put me on it, put it in writing so it holds me accountable, holds our feet to the fire to make sure we are stepping up to the plate to be able to support our team as we should. And people aren't used to that, sadly. And I know a lot of people are saying people don't want to work. And I'm like, they do want to work. They just want to work well. They want to work well. They want to be able to show up, do good work, and go home. No one's saying people don't want to work, but there's a way to make people buy into a healthy way to do it and a sustainable way to do it.
So how did you find life was, especially during COVID? Because I know that was probably a real trying time.
Yeah, COVID. So COVID, I was still in New York City.
Okay.
And I remember it was really hard. I don't actually talk about it that often. It was.
That's why you come on Truth to Power to talk about
Yeah.
things that you normally don't talk about.
I really haven't talked about it a ton because, that February, we started to hear things around the city about something that was going around really, really fast. And I will never forget, I went to see one of my friends in a Broadway show. And the next night, the show closed because it had been a COVID outbreak in the audience. So they had shut down the show. And then we went into work that next week. And I had like management, kind of like things in my job. But then I had to teach classes, and people sweat in those classes. Mm-hmm. And so they had limited the number of people. And I'll never forget my last day teaching. And everyone just looked and said, are we going to be coming in 2 weeks or tomorrow? Didn't know. And my apartment was 500 square feet. And that was lockdown. We lost a couple people in our building. They unfortunately passed away really sadly. And it was a really scary time. And I saw Central Park. I saw the bags out of the hospitals for the mortuary. And it was really terrifying. And a lot of people don't realize what it was like to be at like ground zero of that. It shook me to my core.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of us saw what was going on, and especially in New York City.
Yeah.
And like you said, ground zero, and to see, to walk past hospitals that had body bags that they didn't know where to put them at. But, it's sad that you probably lost, as I know I have, and I know we've got a lot of other people, even from the station, that we lost during that time. We think about, folks that, like I said, just it was a tough time, during that. But so you came back, you came here to back to Michigan, and so what happened at that point? Because you say you're a superhero. She's 3 years old, so you welcomed a new addition into the family. So talk about that part.
Yeah, when I came home, my daughter had just been born. And, that was a really trying time for me as a mom. I had severe postpartum depression that I had to work through. I had to go into recovery from alcohol because I was trying to cope with that, with my postpartum depression. And to be able to step up as a mom, taking that journey seriously and welcoming it with open arms was the game changer to be able to be there for my daughter as I started to see signs, as she was like from age 1 to about 2, of her regressing. And I noticed, and I was like, let's find some extra support. And she has autism. And I will say, though, from pregnancy all the way through now, the compliment I would always get when they would do the ultrasound is, you have a very happy baby. Very happy every single time. And that remains true to this day. She is the happiest little girl. She is just a ball of joy and a gift from above, who she's catching up on her words. She has great opinions. She'll have great banter with you. She's just funny. She wants to hug and just show love. She's just a loving little kid, and her classmates love her. Her teachers adore her, and I'm really happy she's here at home to be able to grow up where I did in a different way and be able to write a new legacy story of our family and our journey.
So did you know that she may have been autistic before you delivered her, or did you find that out afterwards?
No, I didn't see anything until she was about 1.5. 1.5, because she was excelling in a lot of things and then regressing in a way that I just knew was off. And we have the early on intervention program here in the state. So luckily I have a great school district that was able to get her enrolled right away at age 2. And she started being able to have someone work with her speech-wise, therapy-wise, so that when she got into preschool, she could go right into the special education program and be really well supported. So that's why I'm a big supporter of special education, but also addressing the disparities and inequities, because our school district's great. But I know for a fact not every school district has that available for my child. And I don't want any parent to not be able to have those resources that I've been able to have with Cass.
So is that something for Cass, that the lessons that you've learned, the resources that you've developed, that you want to disseminate that information or to be able to share that information with other people that may have a similar situation, with the superhero as you do?
Absolutely. And like I said, the early on intervention program is fantastic, but a lot of people, it took me a while to be able to really understand how to sign up, how to understand it with the school districts, be able to find the Autism Alliance of Michigan and see some of their resources. And if that took me that much time to be able to find as somebody who has a lot of access, truly, to a lot of resources, I can only imagine somebody who's got to work 2 jobs, he has other children, has other issues and things going on because we have life,
Right.
How much harder that is. So that is my goal, to be able to open up those resources and provide additional funding and support for special education, which we can see from federal government down is being wiped out and trying to be taken out.
So when you were saying before, mentioning about the how you were dealing with the postpartum depression and some of the things that you used as a coping mechanism, what advice would you give to somebody who may be going through something similar to what you were going through?
What I wish I had done, because I asked for help, and this is what I will say. I asked for help repeatedly from people, places, workplace, anybody who would listen. But I was not taken seriously because I wasn't in crisis point.
What is crisis point?
Crisis point is you're trying to commit suicide, which was my goal at one point. And that's how we got to where I got to the other side, by the grace of God. But I had asked repeatedly. What I do wish I had done differently is, while I was in that place, gone and done it anyway and not really waited for permission. Because I think that's what I was waiting for, someone to say, oh, I see you, it's okay, now you can go take care of yourself. And I wish I had just done it. I really wish with all my might I would have. There's so many things, that could have gone wrong, and people could have gotten hurt, or there could have been just worse circumstances. And luckily it didn't play out that way, but that's not the case for everyone. So I just wish that there was a way I said, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to either go to a meeting, or I'm going to force myself into a hospital and have them take me whether they like it or not, and do that extended stay. And really surrounding yourself, I think, during pregnancy would have been key with people who understand mental health, because I wasn't around people who understood that and didn't take it seriously and said, you just got to push through. Everyone gets over it. Well, unfortunately, actually, a lot of people don't, and it's a silent epidemic that's happening in this country right now, where women are committing suicide usually from months 9 through the year mark as their kids are being born. So you're having all of a sudden, single parents because their wives are no longer here. And everyone's saying, well, they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. And then they look back and they're like, I think they did. Yeah. And like I said, having that awareness as you're going through the process of, like, if you're having miscarriages, understanding that, because there's huge depression that comes with that. But having those people around you in that community who will take you seriously. And if they're not there now, I'm not a person who's afraid to clean house. Clean house. Find them. They're out there. We're out there. There's support groups. You can find people on Facebook who've been through journeys like you've been through, and find a way to reach out first and foremost before we even get that point. And that's a big part of why I'm running, is I want to address things before we hit the crisis point, because you don't need to hit that in order to fix things.
Now, if you had to describe yourself, and I ask everyone that comes on the show this question, okay, and I get some interesting answers when I ask this question. Are you running to be an elected official, or are you running to be a public servant?
Public servant.
Why do you say that?
Anyone can get elected. But it's another thing to actually be a public servant and do the work and do the job and understand it's not about glory. It's not about a title.
So if you had to pretty much, because I hear when people walk into the room and they have a title, like the Honorable State Representative Amanda Trepper, right. For example. Yeah. Let's just say hypothetically then. We may be speaking prematurely, but at any rate, let's say that. And the first thing that people ask when they come into the room is that we want to recognize all of the elected officials, in the room. And that's the buzzword that everybody uses. Would you want them to change that word and say, we'd like to recognize all of the public servants as opposed to the elected officials? Because a lot of people, when they say that, there's a lot of people that may say, what about representing the precinct delegates? That they're also elected officials, as well. So that's the thing, because by you being a person out in the community, talk about the precinct delegates first, and we'll kind of go into a little bit of detail about, running as a state senator.
Precinct delegates are essential to the process, and I don't like how people overlook them so much, because they're the ones getting out. They're there to help drive the vote and to get people out, make sure they're registered to vote, and talk to them. That is your first and foremost front line of interaction and communication to the community. That's who you need. And I would love it. I went to an event recently where they did say, can we have elected officials, including precinct delegates, please stand? And that's how it should be. But I love the work that our precinct delegates do. Our Macomb County Black Caucus just recently had a precinct delegate meeting that was great, and training.
We'll give Jackie Kelly a shout out.
Yes, we love Jackie Kelly.
Because see, I'm the second vice president of the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus. Yeah. So Jackie's got the original, and then also that's how I met Joel Rutherford.
Got it.
And Melody McGee and Helen Springer, and the list goes on and on and on. But so go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. They're amazing people, and I'm so grateful to even be in the same room as them. Truly. But it was great, and it's for people who are even thinking about being precinct delegates and understanding that work and the importance of that work. And like I said, I want people to take it seriously, because especially as we're coming up to these midterms, where everything's on the line. Like you need to tap in. We need everybody up and going, up and running, and making sure that they are equipped and have the best support possible is essential.
And you know something, because I know we got a few minutes left before we take a break, but the biggest question that a lot of people have is wondering when to announce your candidacy that you're running. And some people, you know, now we know your election is for November of 2026, correct? Mm-hmm. And you have to then first get out of the primary and then to go on to the general election in November.
Right.
But what made you run now? Because there's some people that may be waiting until next year, you know, till the January of 2026 to announce their candidacy. What compels you to, you know, to announce your candidacy now? Because I'm looking at your, your kicker card that, and you know, we got to give her a shout out since she's she's the one that's holding down the fort. Dina, and
yes,
give Dina's last name because I didn't get her
Shargavian.
last. Say it again.
Shargavian.
Shargavian.
Yes.
Okay, I guess I said it right then. Okay, and I do want to thank her for giving us an opportunity to have this conversation. But what made you decide, and what advice would you give to somebody who may be running in a race in 2026? Why they should start putting out the feelers and getting a crew together to help them with trying to go and get the word out that they're running for that office?
Well, we are about to have a complete, statewide election from the top down like we've never seen before.
Right.
Right. We've got governor all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that's going to be a lot of information coming at voters, a lot of education that's going to need to happen about primaries, when to vote when, where, why, as well as fundraising. That's a lot of fundraising that's going to be taking place in this state that you're going to need to be able to get in front of, but it's strategy. And for myself, this district is new. I have a whole new district.
Explain, where is that district
Yeah.
at? What does it encompass?
So it encompasses Western Warren. So we're talking about 14 in Van Dyke going all the way down through Oak Park. It has all of Centerline, Clawson, Madison Heights, Royal Oak Township, Berkeley, Huntington Woods, Ferndale, Pleasant Ridge, Oak Park, Hazel Park. And that is a very diverse and beautiful district. But a lot of people are not aware that they go together right now. And it's also an interesting factor to have about a 70-30 split of about 70% Oakland, 30% Macomb, right? Two counties that are not best friends generally. But I call them both home and I love them so much. That's why I want to run and be able to help support the communities. But you've got to be able to get out there in front and be able to tell people, this is the outlook of the district. There's going to be funds getting tighter on the state level. We already see the cuts on the federal level. This is how we're going to have to strategize as kind of like one band, one sound. And that's why I did it so early, just so people could understand the lay of the land and how crucial it is right now to have different kind of leadership coming in. Because for the next, I want to say probably 4 or 5 years, it's going to be every day you get up, you're in the hot seat. That's what it's going to be. And you need to have leaders who understand what that is, are comfortable being uncomfortable, and being able to spread that message, have those conversations about how people themselves feel uncomfortable, and get real with it to be able to find real solutions. Sooner is better than later. And
so you bring a segue to the next part when we come back from break that I'll talk about, because let's kind of delve into a little bit of a SWOT analysis, of the district, that you're looking to serve in. And because, like you say, you got an eclectic mixture of different personalities, different cultures, different ethnicity. I mean, just a whole gamut. So that's something that, I'm very much wanting to hear how you would pretty much look at the differences between residents of Ferndale versus Hazel Park versus Warren and Centerline and so on. So I believe, Tim, we need to take a break. And when we take this break, we'll come back with Amanda Treppa, candidate for state senate here in the great state of Michigan. But I'll let you get more into the details, about that when we come back and break. You're watching Truth to Power, and I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Deborah Geraldine Bledsoe Ford, and I want to celebrate 3 Hall of Fame women. My aunt, Anita Ford Allen, the first female president of the D.C. School Board. My grandmother, Geraldine Bledsoe, a member of the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame for fair employment practices in the state of Michigan, and my mother, Geraldine Bledsoe Ford, the 3rd female jurist in the state of Michigan. Each of these women influenced me and many others to be strong, courageous, and self-assured.
Watch WHPR and TV 33 when you want, where you want, how you want. WHPR is now in your pocket. Download our free app by going to the App Store or Google Play and enter WHPR TV in the search engine. And there we are. You can download WHPR TV or radio. You heard about it. Now come be a part of it. Roku Detroit Worldwide. Approximately 8 million viewers.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Mattered. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Claudine Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey, filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
Every Monday through Friday from 12 noon to 3 p.m., it's the Tavis Smiley Show on WHPR TV and Radio 15.2. Also seen on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, iPhone, and Android. That's the Tavis Smiley Show on WHPR TV and Radio. Download the WHPR TV app for iOS, Android, and Roku. The Tavis Smiley Show, distributed by RJ Watkins Studios.
313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
Power. You're watching a very special edition. And my name is Darwin Griffin, and this young lady that's across the way from me is a young lady who is looking to garner your support for state senate here in the Michigan area. And I'm going to let Amanda Treppa kind of go into what is the district number and then talk a little bit more about the let's just kind of do a little SWOT analysis, in terms of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, when it comes down to the district, because you're looking to represent a variety of different communities.
Right.
But talk about the district number, so that when people are looking to see your name and see what district you're looking to represent, can you talk about that?
It is District 10. So.
And why is that district open, or why are you? Who was in that district before? You running against an incumbent, or just kind of go into detail? Because some people get confused as to wondering, okay, District 10, well, is she running, is she running against an incumbent? Is it an open seat? Or whatever happened, in terms of say what that district is to why you're in that district running for that seat.
Absolutely. So with the redistricting that occurred, they redistricted, it's actually a makeup of 3 state senators' districts. So it is a little bit of Senator Paul Wanos with Centerline. And then you have Senator Stephanie Chang, who's fantastic, and parts of her district are in there. And then the majority of the district, if she was staying in that seat, would be State Senator Mallory McMorrows. But she is running for the U.S. Senate. So by her leaving, because Senator Chang and Wayno were term limited, it is an open seat. So that is why I had the opportunity to run for it, and am supported and endorsed by State Senator Mallory McMorrow for it.
So let's talk about endorsements, since
Yeah.
you brought that up. If you'd like to, name why are endorsements important, and do you think that they're endorsements that you really need to have to be able to get over the edge when it comes to an election?
I believe the right endorsements are important because, you can have endorsements from any which way. I could say my campaign manager has endorsed me. That's fantastic. That's great. It's the right endorsements. They are important to be able to garner support and visibility. Like Senator McMorrow is my senator right now, and she's very good at her job. And in our district, we feel supported, heard, and, when you knock on a door and say that you have her support, there's a respect that comes with that because they trust her so much. So those kind of endorsements are important. That being said, and this is for anyone who's even thinking about running and is concerned they're going to get out endorsed, quote unquote. If endorsements determined elections, most of the people who are currently elected would not have their seats. You don't need to have every single endorsement from here to kingdom come to win an election. You do not. It comes down to the people, and when you talk to them at their doors, it comes down to how many people get out there with you, and really being able to build momentum and a movement. So like I said, it's the right ones, and there are endorsements that can hurt you too.
Like
And
what, for example?
if there's like a state rep or someone who maybe doesn't align with your values, and you accept their endorsement, that can send a weird message to people. People might be like, oh, well, they've not supported the LGBTQ community. That's very bizarre. Why you say you are an advocate or in that community and you accepted that endorsement. What do we do with that? Are you saying that you can work with them? Are you saying this? It calls into a lot of questions, and who you're surrounding yourself with support wise.
You brought a good point up. You said accept that person's endorsement. So are there any endorsements then that you don't have to name them, but are there any endorsements that people have, or organizations or companies or whatever, have tried to give you that you've not accepted? Because sometimes endorsements come with money too.
Yes, they do. They do. Right? We're running into that where people are talking about corporate money, corporate PAC money.
Correct.
That's the conversation. I've only had one endorsement I have not said I'm not interested in, and it's come from an individual,
Okay.
who I won't name, but I was not interested. I don't believe that they align with my values and vision that I'm going for with the work, and that's okay. I don't believe that that's what I want to reflect, and that's my decision as well. And I believe endorsements go both ways, right? Like I do believe that is an agreement you make with each other of we're in this together, and that has to be an open dialogue and communication, and that's how it should be.
Because you have a lot of people that are getting upset with people that are accepting AIPAC, monies. Mm-hmm. And some people are saying no, they're not.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are accepting those donations that people, are giving them. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. They don't usually get involved in state level races. It's usually on the national level. That being said, if they did get involved, I wouldn't accept it. I know others wouldn't. I also wouldn't accept an endorsement from someone who was taking their money. And that's really important to note. I believe it's valid. And I do believe they've had an unfortunate influence in a lot of elections. And I believe people are right to stand on their values and 10 toes down and say, I'm not interested in that money. I want to do it people power, grassroots, and on my values alone.
Good. Okay. Let's talk about your district.
Yeah.
So it's District 10, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Talk about District 10. Talk about the cities that you're looking to represent. And what are the things that one city may need and another city may not? And, because when we talk about education, for example,
Yeah.
let's kind of dig into that part, so the school system in, let's say, for example, Highland Park, or I'm sorry, Hazel Park, or Centerline, or some, there may be needs that maybe more so in one city compared to another city. But let's talk about that in terms of the needs, the strengths that are in one city versus the weaknesses that a city may have that may need more federal dollars or corporate dollars, to be able to assist.
I think that's a really great place to start, because education is a really good balance where you can kind of get a trajectory of where people are maybe having most needs. Recent report came out on literacy and where people were falling within Oakland County. And there was some of the district that was at the top. And then some of it came at the very bottom. Mind you, they're only 15 minutes apart from each other. And you're kind of going, well, what are we doing here? What's actually happening? So it's really important to be able to see where certain communities, maybe it was COVID dollars that they were able to put into more resources, right? And some of those are going away, where some people maybe didn't get that. So like if I'm looking at communities like Oak Park, Hazel Park, that could use additional funding to be able to support their education and their educators and be able to build out programs to help all of them lift up their curriculums, that's essential, because maybe it's not needed so much in Royal Oak. Granted, they still need their funding. They still need to be able to sustain the great work they've been doing. But also bringing together, why has one area been doing so well and one hasn't? Is it because they are really great at writing grants? Are they really good at that? How do we teach, boom, Oak Park or anywhere else, hey, this is how we've been doing it? And being able to bridge that communication gap and be able to lift everybody up together. Another thing that really stands out, though, when we talk about the district as a whole, like, yes, there are differences, but one thing that rings true from Macomb all the way down is about infrastructure as far as our water, because we have pipes being held up by wood that's from the 1800s, and then we also have lead pipe being replaced all throughout Oakland County, and the same issue is happening in Warren, it's happening in Centerline, and that is when I'm knocking on doors right now, that is a hot topic, because that's why we have all the flooding that happens. People remember way back when, well, I mean, it's still happening. Freeways are flooding, let's be honest. I don't know when I can leave sometimes my house because my road floods, and how do we expand that and build more storm drains, build another basin for water to come out of. But those are things that are top of people's minds, especially with education and infrastructure, so people can stop having to try to figure out how to replace their cars all the time. But I love that everyone seems open. I've met with many of the mayors, many of them so far, and they're really good at their jobs. I'm just going to say it. I love the conversations I've been getting to have and how passionate they are about their communities. And I love that they are wanting to have more of a dialogue with each other and looking for someone to bridge that gap. Because you also have municipalities like Royal Oak Township, right? Very small, very small. And Pleasant Ridge, also small, who are trying to figure out how they can have more tools to be self-sufficient on their own. And that's one of the differences, right? They would like to have more tools to be able to build themselves up together. Royal Oak Township, though, different size, would like some more tools from the county and from the state level as well. But then also have the tools to be kind of like how Pleasant Ridge is. How do we really support ourselves, sustain ourselves a little bit more? Then you have the bigger ones. You have Warren, you have Royal Oak, who are looking to maintain on a large scale what they've been able to build and keep building from there. So they just have different needs and different tools of support, but the smaller municipalities really want to be able to have support within themselves a little bit more than the larger ones. That's a very distinct difference right now.
So when you look at the different municipalities that are in District 10, let's look at some of the threats that may exist in one city versus another city. What are some of those that you see?
Can you give me a
So
specific?
when you're looking at the threats in the community where you're looking at in District 10, there may be businesses that may be on the verge of leaving, or a business that
Got it.
may be trying to go and grow their business, and they're looking for a place to, establish in.
Right. I'm looking right now at Madison Heights, who's redoing their downtown and their master plan to try to really expand, to be able to bring more businesses in, right? Because they do find that people are leaving or are finding like, oh, I want to go hang out more in nearby Royal Oak or somewhere like that. And it's why we should have that business here. This is a great area, great community. Why don't we have this here? They have great fairs. How do they expand that? So they're working on that. And same thing over actually in Centerline. Kind of the same thing is happening there where they're trying to expand and really bring the community back in. But to do that, they do need a lot more state funding and resources. And that is a serious issue where a lot of the communities in this district feel forgotten or left behind.
Right.
And I will tell you, as state senator, my number one goal is to make sure no one ever feels forgotten or left behind. Genuinely. I know what that feels like on a professional level and a personal level. And it's very deep in why I lead with that as a leader, first and foremost, when having any interactions with anyone I'm working with. But that's like the thing in Centerline. It's the same thing in Hazel Park, wanting to bring people in. Oak Park, which I find really great and interesting, is they have all these new businesses, restaurants in particular. They have more liquor licenses that are now available for businesses to come in. I think it was like 18. I was recently at the State of the Cities where they gave that report. In Huntington Woods, I don't know if I let them out earlier. I don't think I did. Huntington Woods, and being able to keep the integrity of their cities and what it has been, but still be able to bring in new people, new energy, new life, a lot of younger families. And what does that look like? And do they have the supports for younger families to move in and younger folks? And, you know, like millennials and Gen Z, we're taking over a little bit. So everyone wants to be able to attract that talent and build their communities that way. So that's what we're looking at, is just making sure no one's feeling forgotten, left behind, and having those tools to bring people in and keep people there.
Because it seems like that 9 mile, 10 mile corridor, you know,
Yeah.
seems to be attracting a lot of businesses and a lot of people to recreate throughout that area. Let's talk about that. So what do you think that could be done from State Senator Amanda Trepper to really enhance that? You know, because there used to be a time when people would go to Birmingham, or they may go to, you know, to other communities, but weren't going to the Royal Oaks and places. And now that you've got the Arts, Beats, and Eats that, you know, is thriving quite well, you know, there. What are some of the other, you know, attractions that are in those districts, in District 10, that people should really come and either want to recreate or even have their children to attend schools or to even live in?
Yeah. You're talking about, like, first of all, like economic development and planning. Love that. Huge passion of mine. I have so many friends who are entrepreneurs, and in Oakland County and Macomb, I really want there to be even more options to be financially supported, being able to hit critical peaks and cutting a lot of the red tape.
Right.
When you're trying, right, when they're trying to make these businesses, the regulations, things like that. And the red tape often is just trying to get from point A to point B, and they're sending you to another office. Why can't we streamline that? Like, most things are online, or say that an application can be no longer than 20 pages, right? Because a lot of applications all of a sudden are like 60 pages long. Just say it's 20 pages. That's what we're doing. And then that way people have easier access to be able to get those in, get those approved. That's just a very simple, easy way to start to get those businesses in the door, getting the permits they need. And then, like I said, finding a way to financially, when they're applying for things, applying for grants, if you've lived in the area a certain amount of time, being able to say, like, hey, you get $10,000 to support these closing costs, these permit costs that go towards your business. That's a really attractive way to get people to come in and be able to build those businesses. And also, I want to build on the businesses that people already have there that are really small. Maybe they've been doing it at the street fairs, like at the Independence Festival right in Centerline. We've got great Juneteenth festivals down in Oak Park, other places where I'm thinking, like, they already exist. Maybe there's a way for them to set up shop and expand. How do we do that? How do we reach out to them and be able to say, hey, here are the new state level options that we have joined with the county on, for you to be able to set up more of a permanent space? Because a lot of people do it as a side thing, but it's their true passion. And I would love that to be there full time.
So you mentioned about what the first objective that you would have being a state senator in that district. What are your second and third that, you know, that you would like, priorities that you'd like to do, so you can hit the ground running and everybody will see the work that State Senator Mallory Rivera was doing, and it hasn't lost a beat from her to you?
something that she's been really strong at is our gun violence prevention legislation. And something that I was really proud to be an advocate for is actually during Lame Duck, which we know how that turned out. Was like her ghost gun bill.
I was on the phone with a lot of people during that time.
Yeah,
Right.
it was hard. It was really a hard one to take a gut punch to, truly, because I was there. We're going into some of these often Republican offices and trying to pitch these bills of ghost guns and it's in Second Amendments, and it was really difficult, and it requires a lot of courage, and it was really sad to watch that fall out and fizzle out the way it did. But a lot of her legislation on that, a lot of the work she does on the economic planning and development that she has done in particular to help a lot of our communities, especially with being able to have Black business owners be able to feel supported and have access to funds. She's done a lot of great work, and I want to be able to build on that. And, you know, I want to be able to take an even more expanded approach about mental health, especially when we talk to caregivers, right? We do have a lot of elder population in the district, and she recently had bipartisan support on a bill that allows caregivers to be able to take off when they have like jury duty, things like that, and be supported. But I really want to be able to really focus on that respite care, and that people have funds or find a way for the state to have some kind of programming that allows people to take a break if they need it. You know, I'm hearing on a lot of doors that I have a loved one and I just need a minute because I don't get to see anyone else because they have dementia or Alzheimer's, and we can do better because their mental health matters. Mom's mental health matters. We can build on the Mama Bus package that she did great work on, and that needs to be all the way through. We need that done, and we need to build on it. There should be leave for miscarriages. There should be maternity leave like other states have for 12 to 15 weeks. I don't even know why it's a non-starter conversation with some folks when other states already have it, when Michigan has the opportunity to set the standard. We have an opportunity. If we're behind, you have a chance to shift it, especially right now at a critical time. So all that great work, you know, that she has done, I, of course, will put my spin on it as well, right? There's a great structure, and now I get to color it the way that we are now. And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to doing the most.
So, you know, we're going to have a new governor
Yeah.
next year as well.
What are you going to ask me?
I'm not going to ask that question, so I'm going to leave that question alone. But what advice would you give to whoever the new governor is that comes into the mansion up there in Lansing?
Ooh, that is a very good question.
Because you as a state senator, there's
Yeah.
a lot of impact that you and your fellow state senators
We'll have.
will have.
Yes. And I like to say that, you know, the governor's the quarterback. And we are your wide receivers, we're your running backs, we are your special teams.
Your tight ends.
Yeah,
and
you
right.
got to be able to work
So we
with
see
us.
you're a Lions fan too, then, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And when I went to Western, I lived through the PJ Fleck years, which was fantastic.
Okay.
But you've got to be able to be a team, right? And I think the next governor really needs to focus on that and what that looks like to be a team, and not trying to, you know, just say this is my way or highway. We have to really build our communities as a whole, and not always, I think, look at it as the way things have been done or the way things should be. And I think that, especially as Democrats, we often get into that habit. And I have seen it firsthand when people have told me, even while running, well, we don't do things that way. Right. That's why we lost. So, so let's try something different, because I do believe that when something doesn't work, you should try something different instead of just doing the insanity repetition. And I hope that the next governor, like our governor is fantastic. I love her to pieces. I think she's brilliant. And I respect her so much on so many levels. And I want that next person also just keep that view of like, I got to maybe do some things differently. Because even the best leaders, and I'm not going to speak for her, but I'm sure that even my predecessor or other people, there's things that they wish that they had done more of. And as I've been on this journey, something I do ask is I sit down with the people who currently hold the district. I ask them where they feel they could have done more on. And I ask that of anyone who's elected in office who may not be there soon. And it's really profound to hear what they say. So, yeah.
And see, one of the things that we're going to do here at Watkins Broadcast is that we give equal opportunity to everybody that may be running for a position. So we're going to reach out to the other candidates that are running in that district, to see if they would like to come, and be a part of Truth to
Yeah.
Power. But we definitely want to tell you that we appreciate you coming, and we would love to have you come back again,
love to.
and come on the show. But I want you to, because I know we've got a few minutes left, but I want you to give your, if somebody wants to either donate money to your campaign, or if they would like to work with you and Dina or other members of your, campaign, how can they reach out to you? Like, is there a phone number, website, email address that they can go on?
Absolutely. So our website is trepaformichigan.com. You can find an email there. It's our info@trepaformichigan.com to be able to reach out to us. One of us will see it on our team, whether it's me, whether it's Dina. You can also contact me on social media. I am the person who answers my direct messages. So if you have a question, and a lot of people do slide in asking questions about transit and what we're going to do to build on that, that's also important in district. But I will try to give you the best answers possible in real time and let you know where we're going to have events. So following me on social media, Amanda Trepa. That's all you have to look up on Instagram. Same thing on Facebook. And then on TikTok, it is Trepa for Michigan. So, but it's all encompassing. So.
And one thing that we want you to do too is that we want you to come back on the show, again.
Yeah.
Because as you know, we're Black media. Mm-hmm. And, our quarterback here is R.J. Watkins, But the thing is that we want you to come back because it's important, because a lot of times we see a lot of the elected officials put their ads or run their commercials on other media streams and platforms. Mm-hmm. And we definitely like to offer that opportunity to you,
Thank you.
should you decide that you're going to go and, put commercials or, advertisements promoting events. But I know you've got an event that's coming up, I believe, in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that real quick before we wrap
Yeah,
up?
we have a couple. The one on Monday, it's a Friendsgiving. That's our theme.
You say, what's it called again?
Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving.
Yes.
Not Thanksgiving, but a
No,
Friendsgiving. Okay.
Friendsgiving, all of our community. We're having a bit of a fundraiser, but it's also a part food drive. So you were talking about turkey giveaways, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Everyone is bringing food to bring to one of two pantries. We have one in Madison Heights. And there's also one in Warren that we're going to drop off all the food at and be able to try to support that way. And then we have another one coming up in Oak Park, December 16th. And that is a cabaret. Bringing back my musical theater roots, performing myself. We'll have some special
You're
guests.
gonna be performing?
I am. Yeah.
In light, in terms, say you're going to be singing, you're going to be
I will
dancing,
singing,
you're going to be acting.
Yeah, the whole thing. So singing, being able to introduce myself in a different way and probably say some things in a more musical way than I could say on here about my journey, story, experience, but also have some friends bring some of that holiday spirit. We'll be throwing down some of those tunes as well. And it'll be really nice fun. The tickets include food, beverage, and it'll be a really great night.
And if they want to get more information about the event?
trepaformichigan.com.
And is there anything else, Amanda, that we did not cover that you'd like to cover before we wrap this segment up?
I would just like to cover that this district is very special. We talk about District 10. The special part about District 10, of it being so eclectic, so diverse, is that it's essentially a large part of it, minus having rural areas. It is a blueprint to a lot of the state of Michigan. And if we can get a lot of incredible legislation done that works and supports District 10, it will be able to support a lot more of the greater state as a whole. And I think that there is an immense opportunity here and big responsibility with that, and is a large part of why I want to be the one to help lead and support us through it.
And give your contact information one more time.
trepaformichigan.com, or you can email info@trepaformichigan.com. Find me on social media at Amanda Trepa.
Well, we are very, very fortunate to have had you on the show today. We are plumb pleasingly pleasured to have had you on this show.
Thank you.
And we definitely want to extend this invitation to come back again as often as you like.
Thank you.
So you have been watching Amanda Trepa. She is a candidate for the state Senate seat in District 10. And she's giving you her information. And also, too, if you'd like to support her, please make contact with her. Because one of the things that I like what you said real quick is that you put your boots on the ground. and you realize too that that's the important, touching people. And just one last quick question before we wrap.
Yeah.
How many times do you feel that you need to touch your residents in your community to try and get your support? Because that's something, because we like here at Watkins, we like to give educational value to everyone that comes on the show. So we want to educate people that may have aspirations just like you. So how many times do you feel that you should touch people in the district? Because you represent a lot of districts.
I know Dina's like, this is the exact number. In the corner.
Give Dina's last name again.
Dina
too.
Shargavian,
Okay,
amazing
okay,
campaign manager.
okay.
She's going to tell you it's 7. I'm going to say it's more like, in my experience, 10 to 11. But it's really until I lose count. I want to lose count past that number. Of how
So
many
you want to
times.
go to a house that you said, where they've seen your literature, they've seen you
Yeah.
before,
They've
and
seen me at events. They've seen
you at the
everywhere.
events.
I want to be able to find you everywhere. I want to find you at the local football game and you saw me there. I want to be able to meet you at where you're at the bookshop. I want to be able to meet you and have an opportunity to connect on every level and every place possible. And that is also my job. That is your job. How you run your race is how you're going to run your office. So that is my job now. That is going to be my job when I'm in there, to be able to find you, find out what's important, and take it back and get the work done.
Perfect. You have been watching a special edition of Truth to Power with my special guest, State Senate candidate Amanda Treppa in District 10. And we wish you the best.
Thank you.
And be safe, and have a tell Cass to have a great Thanksgiving.
I will.
As well.
Thank you.
But have a beautiful weekend, and we are going to be back with my other special guest, and that is Erica Hill, and also to the former city council person that was representing District 2 in the awesome city of Detroit, and that is Roy McAllister. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Maureen Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey, filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
Every Monday through Friday from 12 noon to 3 p.m., it's the Tavis Smiley Show on WHPR TV and radio 15.2. Also seen on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, iPhone, and Android. That's the Tavis Smiley Show on WHPR TV and radio. Download the WHPR TV app for iOS, Android, and Roku. The Tavis Smiley Show, distributed by RJ Watkins Studios.
All media platforms are engaged.
Copy.
Get ready to launch your show or product.
Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that.
Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
From the desk of RJ Watkins, this is a WHPR editorial.
I'm Ariana Watkins, and for decades, my father, RJ Watkins, has served our community with quality radio and TV service through WHPR and Roku. Today, I'm proud to stand beside him, continuing the legacy built on trust, innovation, and your support. We're here because of you, and we'll keep bringing you the best now and for generations to come. Thank you for supporting us and growing with us.
This has been a
107.5 FM,
WHPR editorial.
WGPR HD3. 107.5 FM. WGPR HD3, where R&B, jazz, blues, old school, gospel, talk, soca, and classic oldies. This is Variety Radio, 107.5 FM, WGPR HD3.
Feel good about your future with tuition-free programs at Wayne County Community College District. Whether you want to be in healthcare, computer science, the culinary arts, digital media, or robotics and automation for the next generation of vehicles, WCCCD has you covered. A full range of programs to achieve your goals, fit your schedule, and give you all the support you need to be successful. All of it tuition-free. Now there's something to feel good about. Register today at wcccd.edu.
Watch us live on 313watkins.com as well as other streaming sources. But we are joined by two good people that are going to talk a little bit about the issues that are going on in the city of Detroit as well as surrounding communities, because we're going to have the young lady who represents the Wayne County Sheriff's Department, and that is Erica Hill, and she's going to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that the Sheriff's Department is going to be involved in, as well as I believe a turkey giveaway that they're going to also, be involved in as well, because this is a time of giving to people. And we also are joined by a colleague that knows very little introduction, and he has been with us several times before, and that is the Honorable Roy McAllister. Erica Hill, Councilman Roy McAllister, welcome to Truth to Power today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
But let's get to a little bit first in terms of say, Erica, tell a little bit about who Erica Hill is. And I know you've got a lot of involvement in the community.
Yes.
You're a person who builds people up, lifts people up, and maintains their elevation.
Yes.
When they are out and about in the community. And, you have a little bit of history with Roy McAllister, so if you two want to talk a little bit about that part, you're very welcome to do that part. This is not a Entertainment Weekly or one of those kind of TMZ type shows. But, the main thing is, if you'd like to just talk a little bit about who Erica Hill is, and then we'll get a little bit more into detail about what you do with the Sheriff's Department.
Sure. Again, thank you for having me, Mr. Griffin. This is a great platform to participate in, especially with my good friend Roy McAllister.
It's nice when you say my good friend, and Roy is just steady smiling as you say that. So I've not seen Roy. He's been on the show with me several times before, but he's never had that kind of smile. That's one of those Kodak moment type smiles that he has right now.
We go back like Fago. That's what we say.
Say it again?
We go back like Fago.
Oh, like Fago.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't heard that one in a while. But, okay. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I see. I started my career with the UAW as I was actually.
I almost wore my little UAW pen, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
I started with the UAW. I actually started. My father was a electrical repairman at the Wixom Assembly Plant, and I was in school at Wayne State. And I told him I was tired of being a poor college student. I wanted a job, and he.
Where'd you go to college?
Hesitantly, Wayne State.
Okay.
And anyway, so while I was in school, I worked in the plant, and the one piece of knowledge that he gave me that I kept and it stuck with me was to become active in the union. He said the company is not going to do what they say they're going to do for you, but the union will. And so from there, I became active in union politics and became an elected official in the union, and then eventually went on to work at the International Union under Jimmy Settles, UAW Vice President, former UAW Vice President Jimmy Settles, and it was during that time then in 2006 I was asked to join the administration, the mayoral administration at that time, and the rest, as they say, is history. So I worked I've worked in all four of those administrations. So I worked in the Kilpatrick administration, I lost my train of thought that quickly.
So you had the Kilpatrick administration?
Archer administration.
No, not Archer. Archer was
Okay.
before my time. I was still a youngin'. I wasn't quite old enough to.
Here we go.
But you also worked under the Cockrell administration.
I worked Cockrell. I worked under Bing, and then under Mayor Duggan until recently. And so that can bring us to our funny story that me and Mr. McAllister share. One of my responsibilities in the mayor's office, I headed up special events, and I did a lot of work with the General Services and Recreation Department, and I was given the task of cementing our Spirit Plaza Park. That park that's at the foot of Woodward and Jefferson became my baby, and it was
right in front where the Q line makes that little U-turn and comes back where it spins around at.
No, further down. So right next to the city county building where the Spirit of Detroit is, there is a park called Spirit Plaza, and its great beginnings was the planning department closed the street off, and they didn't tell city council. They just did it, and they were the enemy of many. And then when I came along, they were like, okay, this is your project. We need you to fix this. And so by the grace of God and all of the resources and friendships that I had garnered over the years, I was able to just do just that. We were able to cement the park as a permanent park. But that was not without a little consternation. And so I had to present before.
That's the word for this morning, consternation. Okay.
I had to present before a city council, and it was.
And this young man happened to be on the city council at the time.
He was not in favor of my park. He was not in favor of my little baby down there, and so every time I went before council, and every meeting that we had, former Councilman McAllister would tell me about how much he did not want this to happen because it was unsafe. And as we were talking about earlier, it was on the heels of, we had some terrorism. Folks were, driving cars through crowds and those types of things. And we know his background is in safety and fire. And so he was cemented in his background and standing on his laurels that he did not want people to be hurt while we were having fun down in Spirit Plaza. And so we would go back and forth, and eventually we were able to make it a permanent park. We got it passed without the assistance of my dear friend. However, he is always welcome there. This is my baby, and we laugh. And every time we would see each other, we would walk into the city county building on Woodward. I would always invite him in, and he would go the other way. But again, we were talking earlier about how friendships and how bridges are built, and that is just a small blimp in our relationship that we've garnered over the many years that we've worked for a city government. And there's no time that Mr. McAllister won't reach out and say Happy New Year or Happy Merry Christmas or how's your family doing, and I'll do the same. And if there's anything that he needs from me, he knows that he can always call on me, and same, I don't know the same. So despite our beginnings of now being on the same side of the fence, we are on the Detroit side. That is our side. And so it is oftentimes, as Mr. McAllister was saying earlier, people, especially in politics, come against one another because of an issue, and it is not the people that are the issue, it's the issue that's the issue. So once you make your decision about what it is that where your heart really is and what you really want to do, if you're really for the people of the city, you can find another issue to work closely on and agree on. And there may be several that you don't agree on, but that does not mean that we can't work together for the common goal. So
I guess Councilman McAllister, I'll give you a chance. There's always people that say there's her side or one side, then the other side, and then there's the truth. But, I'm sure that you have your truth to tell. So that's what we call this show, Truth to Power. So I'll let you tell your truth, Councilman McAllister.
Well, thank you. And, it is an honor to be here with Ms. Erica Hill because our friendship has developed. And, it was nothing personal. The fact of the matter is that what I was concerned about was people coming to the city-county building. And, we had a number of terrorist acts. We had a number of people that was, just threatening people. And I was looking at the way the setup was that somebody could come in, take out the security, and take over that whole building. When you have people out there just having a good time, which I appreciate it because it is about people having a good time and enjoying Detroit. But what I was looking at was people out there having a good time, and then they get their senses off, or the fact of the matter is they're not paying attention. And then you have people, from my military experience, will capitalize on something like that, and they can come in and take over a building like the city county building, and from all 13 floors. And so that was my concern with that measure of this park being right there in front. Plus the fact of the matter was the streets were closed down, so there was no access for police to come in, fire to come in, whatever, and to set up to make sure if that did happen, that how do we get in there to make sure that the people that are in that building, how do we get in there to look at the fact that those people who have taken over are apprehended and taken out without the security, everything. So that was the concern there. But just to make a long story short, the measure was passed, and from that point on, I would see Erica. She would say, "Come on over to the Spirit of Detroit," and I'll be like, "Oh my God, here she go." And then, or I'll be walking down the street and I see her coming. I try to go the other way. "Hey, where you going? You right by the Spirit of Detroit. Come on in and walk on." I'm like, "Oh boy." But it was, it was a good measure, and again, it was never personal. It was just something that her ideals and my ideals, the way I looked at things, but it was nothing like, I don't want to deal with her. No, it was nothing like that, because through that, we became good friends. I mean, even I would see her at times and I would say, "Where's your Spirit of Detroit at? You want me to come in?" or something like that. And she would say, "Yeah, come on down, come on to it." But it's just a friendship that, that developed. And that's part of the problems that we have, Brother Darwin, is that we are getting so to the point where it's one against the other. We can't understand, and we don't want to really understand how, if just because we have differences, we can disagree to agree. And just because there are differences there, we have people that are out there that are like, "Oh, I'm not going to deal with this person, and I'm not going to have this," or "My ego's been hurt," or whatever. It's not about that, because again, as Erica Hill has stated, it is about the people. That is the overall. And what do we do that's best for the people? So I just want to say that. And as she walked into the door today and I seen her, like, "Oh my goodness." Oh my goodness. Darwin, I thought you was my friend.
But the word "setup" never came out of your mouth at all.
No, sir. No, sir.
But, one thing, too, is that Erica is just, it's funny how this world is smaller and smaller, and it gets smaller and smaller every time we turn around. And when Pastor Velma Overman had suggested that I talk to you about coming on the show, that I had no idea until we had a conversation recently that you even knew Councilman Roy McAllister.
Yes,
and then when you shared that story, and I'm like, okay, well, let me call Roy. Get him a chance to kind of let people know this is a time for Thanksgiving. This is a time that people should be breaking bread together.
Yes,
right.
And that's what you two did. Thank you to our gracious, hostess that does everything when it comes down to your auntie, as you affectionately call her, Miss Willis, that is our general manager here at the station. But the thing is that it kind of gives you two an opportunity to kind of go and realize, hey, we're in this together. This is what the guest that I had, Amanda Trepper, that's running for state senate, as she was saying, you got to unify.
Yes.
And this is not the time to be fighting
Yes.
either externally or internally.
That's Yes. right.
You know, to be fighting.
Yes. That's right.
And I know that leads me to the next question I want to ask you, Erica, is that I know you do a lot of consulting.
Yes.
For persons that may be looking to get into elected office.
Yes.
What talk a little bit about your business and what you do, and then talk a little bit about what advice you give to candidates that may be seeking elected office.
Okay, well, thank you for that. My business is the Erica Hill Experience. Well, I have umbrella organizations. I am Erica Hill. I am ericahill.com. And what I've done is taking my more than 20, almost 30 years of governmental and political experience and fashioned it into a consulting company. And so I do event management, I do government relations work, I do nonprofit support, and I also do political consulting. I have had the pleasure of running several local elections. I actually worked on Obama for America when the president ran for, former president ran for election. I worked on campaigns going back to Jennifer Granholm, and of course all of the mayors that I spoke to. In addition to Angela Peterson Mayberry, I ran her school board campaigns when she became a school board president, and then this last election when she just became a member, and then got elevated again to president, and now she's a commissioner. So I've had that experience. I'm born and raised in Detroit. Detroit is my life. It is my love. And so to your question about individuals running for political office, there is a space for all of us here. The pie, there's a piece of the pie for everyone. And what I like to tell people that want to run for office is you have to see the larger picture first. It's not just about you, it's about the people that you're looking to represent. And I don't want to go on a tangent, but since I do have a platform to say this, in the city of Detroit, we are oftentimes a boiling pot of eyes. And so all of us want to run. We all want to be we want to be the spotlight. We want to be the leader. But oftentimes there's only one seat. And so I think for people that are looking to become elected, everybody has their time. I think what needs to happen is they need to really, first of all, educate themselves about the office that they seek and what's necessary to carry that office out. And then look to see what are those supporting roles for that office, because you might be a better supporting role the first time around than the actual person that's running. And so I say that to say, we have a history in our town of people leaving vacant seats because they haven't brought someone up behind them. They haven't groomed the next person. And so what ends up happening is we split up the vote, and then the person that we thought was least likely to get it ends up in the seat because we have split it up so badly that now we've canceled each other's out. So that's my advice to young politicians is understand the race, understand the landscape. Even though we have fresh ideas as when you're a new politician or you want to be a new elected, and that's fine. Have a mentor. Find someone that knows the landscape first before you just jump into the race and then find yourself floating in a pool of I don't know what, and then you just kind of left out there. I think if we could get back to the time where there was some come to Jesus meetings and folks sat down and had some real political mentoring and said, okay, you're in line for this position, this is what you should be doing, I'm going to run, and Roy's going to be my chief of staff, and then 4 years from now, I'm going to go and run for something else, and Roy's going to now take my seat. And that's the way political strategy works. That's the way Coleman Young did it.
Yes.
That's the way I can name many people that have done that, especially in our community. We are only as good as our community. We're only as good as we can be to one another. And so in our community, we need to stop being crabs in the barrel, and we need to learn how to politically align so that we can have more strength in our numbers, as opposed if you're on the island by yourself, it's hard to win. But if you in the backyard with your family, all you all can get together and raise up, and you can win something that you didn't even know that you could. And so that's been proven over and over again. Oftentimes, the candidate that has the best ground game, they may not have the most money, but if they have the best ground game and they have the most support from the community, from the folks that they can rally support around them, they can win. And I've been in that position many times with many of elected candidates seeking election. So that's a long way to say my advice is to find a mentor and really understand the landscape of the race that you're entering into, no matter what it is, and then have a political strategy, have some strategy, and work through it so that you can be successful.
So before I get to you, Roy, I just want to ask Erica one question. What advice, just as I was mentioning in the earlier segment,
Yes.
That we're going to have a new governor
Yes.
in the state of Michigan, but also we're going to have a new mayor in the city of Detroit.
Yes.
What advice would you give to the new mayor?
Well, coming from the council seat, Council President Sheffield has a wealth of knowledge in the legislative branch, on the legislative side. And what I know, because I've worked in the executive office for many years, and I saw the transition for the legislative leader coming over into the executive branch when when former Council President Cockle came over to the office. It is something that no one can prepare themselves for when you get into that mayor's seat. So all of the successes that you've had on the legislative side, I'm not demeaning that at all, because you have that knowledge and you have that information. You have to have a substantial team around you to really understand the breadth and the gravity of that mayor's seat. It is, especially the city of Detroit. It's different if you're the mayor of Southgate or you're the mayor of Highland Park. We're here. That's Detroit is it's a huge animal. Yes. And so my advice to the new mayor is to ensure that the people that she has placed around her has both a combination of new ideas and some historical knowledge. You need some institutional knowledge to understand how that office works, what works and what does not work, and just be able to listen and don't be egotistical, don't get in front of yourself, don't get in your own way. Listen, be strategic about who you have around you. I think that's the most important thing. The sign of a good leader is someone that can delegate and listen, delegate tasks, and also be willing to listen to the people that you've placed around you. And you have to make sure that those folks have the best interests of the city first at hand. And so, again, that's my long way of saying it's not going to be a cakewalk. She is a woman. She is a black woman. Mayor Duggan does not fit any of those demographics. And so the world is going to be coming for her. It is not the world. I think former First Lady Obama said it in the last week. She had an interview. The world, the country was not ready for a woman president. That's the reason why we have what we have. That's just the bottom line. And so that doesn't change because we celebrate Council President Sheffield as the mayor. We love that and we are proud of her. But what happens is the reality is going to sink in really quickly. And people are going to compare her to Mike Duggan on every turn. And she's going to have to work harder and she's going to have to do far more than he ever had to do in order to get just a fraction of what he was able to get. So I think taking those things into account and putting a plan in place to really address those realities, and putting a team around her that can really provide her with some institutional knowledge coupled with some new and innovative ideas for the city, I think is a good place to start.
Roy, I'm going to say this. It's like if you come on board here at the station and do a show, I could see her being your I'm not going to say co-host, because I can see you both at the same part. You'd be her co-host and vice versa. But I could see the teamwork, the collaboration between the two of you like that. Yes. But Roy, what advice would you give before we get ready to take a break? What advice would you give
You know,
the incoming mayor?
Erica,
Because you worked with her. That's
yes,
the important part.
Yes. In fact, I was the one who put her in as the pro tem. You know, her and Brenda Jones, I made the proposal that they both be the president and pro tem. But, you know, Erica hit so many good issues that when you're talking about people that are running for public office, you have to understand what the people that they're representing, you have to understand what their concerns is and what their views are. And then the other thing she hits is that a lot of times when we get in these positions, who are we grooming to take over those positions? Because I used to always tell my staff, look, I'm not going to be here forever. One way or the other, I'm going to leave this position. And I need to make sure that when I do leave the position, there is somebody that is here to continue the things, making sure that the people are taken care of. You know, Erica just also stated that when you talk about Mary-elect Sheffield, yes, the legislative is about the people. You're dealing with the people. But now you're getting into the point where now you're dealing with the corporations. Now you're dealing with decisions that have to be made about the city. Now you're dealing with all these directors that are over this. It is definitely more. And you're talking about someone that has been in position, as when we talk about Mayor Duggan, for 12 years, and she hits it right ahead on the tail. I mean, it's just the fact that everybody's going to be looking at her and say, well, you know, the Mayor Duggan would have did it like this. But you have to understand, Mayor Duggan had 12 years. This is her first. You know, and everything, she's going to make mistakes. That is, I mean, it's just there. And then the fact of the matter is that, you know, Eric again hits it on the head. Gosh, you should have been on my team, boy. I'm telling you. I'm listening to her. You should have been on my team, you know. I should have known when she got that bug. But you know, the other thing is,
y'all could be on the team doing the show together.
Oh yeah,
but, you know,
yeah.
I mean,
But you know,
both giving some great information.
Yes, but you know, the thing of it is that you have to have people that are surrounding you that understands, and they have to have that same care and that same ideal as you do, because if not, you know, it's going to be faulty. And then the people are there. Are they there for the city? Are they there for you? Are they there for their own benefit? That's another thing. And I know that, you know, I can go on and we both can go on, but I know we're getting ready to go into a break. But it's just things that there is so much there that we have looked at and we have seen. Erica has seen it on that executive level. I have seen it on the legislative level, as well as global level, is how things should be done and what is going to come at you. And, you know, I mean, it's just funding is going to be a big issue because a lot of the Emergency Relief Act funding is either allocated or it's gone. You know, we have a president that's saying, look, I ain't doing nothing for Detroit. You have a state at this time that is controlled. They do not care about Detroit. So now there's things that the mayor-elect will have to look at and say, how do we bring this funding in? And there are so many things that are getting ready to come forward that this current mayor did not have to deal with or push down because after his term. So these are the things that we are looking at. And, you know, me and Erica was talking about how we're you know, in the back, we was talking how this city has really going to have to step their game up. It's just like she said, the mayor-elect is going to have to do it 10 times better than this current mayor, because that current mayor had 12 years to do it. And he made mistakes in his first term, you know. But, you know, it's just been a thing that we look at, you know, working with the Federal Defender's Office. I know how the feds are. You know, they look at when people are coming to elected positions, they look at, okay, let's start investigating this person, because that's how they get their rank. That's how they get their notches. So all these things are going to be coming, not only with the mayor-elect, but, you know, everybody that's in these positions. And it's, again, we were sharing that we do not need another black eye on the city of Detroit. We have come so far and come along, and that's another issue also, because we want to say, look, we have a female, black, young, democratic person that is in this position now. We do not want them to fail.
And that's the one thing, too, that we have to really get the village to work with the mayor.
Yes.
That's right.
Elect.
Yes.
That's right.
And that's one of the things that when Mayor Duggan came into the position, we were dealing with, as you know, Roy, with the emergency management, that
Yes,
was
sir.
coming down, and as the same thing when it came down to Coleman Young when he was the mayor. There's a reason for the season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's one of the things that it's like right now, this resonates throughout the entire country. Her being the first African American female
Yes.
of a major city like Detroit.
Yes.
And it speaks volumes,
Yes.
throughout. And, I was seeing people from California to Florida to Pennsylvania, they were all congratulating her, for that accomplishment.
Yes.
And we're hoping that even when some of the things that's going on, and Eric, we can talk about this in the next segment,
Sure.
where you see a lot of the unrest that's going on in Dearborn.
Yes. Yes.
And, that's our, it's a neighboring city.
That's right.
And so we need to really kind of, rally around, not just in terms, say, here in Detroit, but then also in the surrounding cities, that also could permeate into the city of Detroit.
Yes. Yes.
So I guess the question I just want to ask you both is that when you look at the city of Detroit and what needs to be done, is there anything in terms of, say, with the council, Roy, as you were on the council before, with you, Erica, who's giving advice to people that were on council, before?
Sure.
Because that's one of the things, Roy, that we talked about the last time you were on the show, is who do you think may be the person that might be elevated into being the mayor? But the mayor's council president,
Yes.
in her administration.
Yes.
And I know she ascended from being the president of the city council to now being the mayor of city council. And sometimes that's a stepping stone.
Which is a first also.
It is.
And it's a first.
It's a first.
And that is a
It is
good,
first.
great point.
Yeah, that is a
Because
first.
a lot of people said that, Roy. You are exactly correct. That history says that's never happened.
That's
right.
true.
That's
Before.
right.
Very true.
That's right.
And we had people close. I mean, Irma Henderson, we had Brenda Jones. I mean,
sir.
we've had several people that were kind of
Yeah,
close
Cockrell.
to that point.
Right.
But, but as far as a female, Cockrell did ascend into that. But he ascended because of a different reason.
Correct.
Right,
And
exactly.
he was unable to hold the seat.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because when they
Exactly.
had the election,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
then some things were different.
That's why I say it's a first.
Exactly.
Yes,
first.
it is a
exactly
first.
right, Roy.
Yeah.
And so I guess the question is that, looking at who do you think, just, Roy, we talked about that before, but who do you think may be elevated to that president spot for city council? And I'll ask you, Erica, first, because Roy and I have talked about this before on the
Put me on
show.
the hot seat. Well,
Roy told me to do that. So
I would say that I would just hope that the council uses wisdom when they are making their selections.
sound
for
like you,
coun-
Roy. Sound like the same thing you said, Roy. Exactly. That's why you two are in tandem like that.
Yes, indeed. I mean, there's and Councilman McAllister.
Just call me Roy.
Roy. We talked about it a little bit in the back, and there's 4 council people that are well positioned to take the top spot. Some of them, I want to get into it, but I just would pray that the council uses wisdom when they are making their selection. There are a number of people that are on council that want it, I'm certain, for a various number of reasons.
Do you think they want it because they know that, okay, how she leapfrogged into being the mayor, that could be a stepping stone for them to maybe ascend to the same, or they may have aspirations to be mayor at one point as well?
I would say it's multiple reasons. That personal reasons. It's that agenda. It's also about how are you looking at Detroit. So there's multiple reasons as to why someone that is on this current or that will be on the current council, on the upcoming council, will want that position.
Yeah.
Multiple reasons.
I mean, if you're running for office, you clearly you're a leader, right? If you're on council, you've made the decision that you want to lead, and people see you as a leader, or you wouldn't have been elected. So you know that they may have aspirations to be mayor. They could have many aspirations. And that's fine, but I believe, especially in this space and time, whoever becomes the city council president has to be squarely and definite. Their focus has to be laser. It has to be laser focused on what is going to happen for this city over the next 4 years and beyond. It can't be a personal agenda.
Right.
It cannot be, you know, my name is Erica Hill and I just want you to vote for me because you cannot, because it is a critical time.
Yes.
Especially with our federal government in the shape that it is in, with our president. You have to know that taking that seat is going to be pivotal in the future of the city of Detroit. And so as the voters that came out to vote made their selections of who they wanted to remain on council and add to the council, I would ask the council that they are wise about that choice, because you want to have someone that is forward thinking. You want someone that is willing to stand on what was necessary to stand on as a council, but then able to make strides and work collectively with the new mayor, because you know it's a song and dance. The council is a check and balance for the mayor, and so. But what we don't want to do is, as Roy and I talked about, we don't want to get back to where we were so far apart that it became a show. Now we just have a reality show. We don't even have, you know, a legislative leadership. We just have a reality show. So I think that it's important that that person is selected, is voted on because of those characteristics, and they will be able to lead our city into the future. So who that's going to be specifically, I think Roy and I'll put it out there. We agree that Councilman Tate is definitely a front runner.
Because of his longevity.
He's been there. He's seen it. His history is with the police department.
And he's currently
pro tem.
Right.
And seemingly that will be the next step, the next move for him. You have Scott Benson, who is also a long-term council person, who is very integral he's very much around, gets involved in sustainability.
And you know, I got to bring up the fact that both of them are my fraternity brothers. Alpha Phi Alpha representing the house.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
just getting hit from all over.
And I'm gonna have to side because my father was an Alpha. So
great man. Well, let me kind of change gears for a quick second before we take a break, because you know, as you both know, that we lost a great person. But we're going to kind of go into that once we come back from break then.
Okay.
But we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that we lost a great person in Fred Durhal. So the thing is that let's look at Fred Durhal Jr. We just lost him. And I know he was on council, you know, after you left, Roy. But so you didn't get an opportunity to work with, you know, Trey, as they call him, you know, Fred Durhal III. But any thoughts about, did either of you have knowledge, or did you know Fred Durhal Jr.?
Fred Durhal Jr. was my state rep. I used to live in Boston Edison.
Okay.
And so he was my state rep. And then when Fred Durhal III, is it the third?
Yeah, we call it, they nicknamed him Trey.
Trey, okay, right. When he, so then he became my rep. But I, again, in the trenches as a UAW member and a local community advocate, I know that Fred Durhal Jr. was about the people. He was always out and about. He was always taking charge and making sure that whatever issue that he was standing on it for the people. And so it is a great loss. It is a great legacy that he has left. I know that even though Trey was not successful in his bid for mayor, his work in his footsteps, filling his father's footsteps, is great work. And I know that his father is proud of him as a leader, as a young black leader in this city that's positioned to do some really great things. It's sad that we have lost a great leader, a great advocate of the people of the city of Detroit and the surrounding areas, but his legacy lives on. And so, I'm a believer, so I know that, he won is with God. I would, he's going to, we'll see him on the other side. And so, and the work that he's done can speak for him, and so it's a sad loss. I give my condolences to his family and to Trey, as you call him. But the work that Trey is going to do is going to give life to his father and his father's legacy. So we look forward to seeing that.
Absolutely. Troy, did you?
Yeah, yes, I had the pleasure and honor of meeting him during the Coleman era. He became one of Coleman A. Young's seniors personnel because of his knowledge with computers. And he was able to integrate that in, and Coleman A. Young, Alexander Young Sr. was very appreciative of that. And he just did things, I would talk to him because that's the point when I was beginning to start into my political career. And he would talk to me about things and advise me on different things. So as Erica said, we have lost another icon. I'll just say it like that. And I'm pretty sure that he has given his knowledge and his experience and ideas and direction to Trey to continue on. I wish Trey had remained on council another year prior to going to try to run for mayor. I think he would have been more impactful another year on the council. But again, we can't say why people do what they do. We can only put it in God's hands, So, but I just say we lost another icon. That's just bottom line.
Yeah, I know that. When I first got involved more so into the political arena, that's when I met Fred Durhall Jr. And I know myself and several other people were going around the neighborhood with bullhorns, saying, get out to vote. We were going in front of barbershops, the beauty shops, and, the stores and, all that, just seeing people on the playground, right there in the Boston Edison, going down Linwood, going down Dexter, all up there, Dexter Elmhurst, the rec center and, places out there where he, represented. And we were just letting people know.
Right. Yeah.
Support this man. Yeah. This is a great man.
Yes, sir.
And he speaks volumes when he talks about the love that he had for the city of Detroit as well as for the district that he served in. But let's switch topics for a minute. So again, our condolences and our prayers from Watkins Broadcasting here at the station go out to Trey, to his brothers as well as his sisters, and let them know that we are definitely keeping them in the family, lifted up in prayer, and in our thoughts, as well. But Erica, you have a dual hat that you wear besides your business that you have, but you also work with the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, I do. I work for Wayne County Sheriff Raphael Washington. Formerly, I've worn several hats, but my most recent hat was on the community engagement side, and so I have changed. My responsibilities have changed a little bit within the office, and the things that I have held on to or I've been assigned to are the chaplaincy. I oversee the chaplain corps. The sheriff has about 130 faith leaders that belong to his chaplaincy corps, and so I am the liaison for the chaplaincy corps. I also do some community outreach still, and I work with the seniors on behalf of the sheriff, and so those are my core responsibilities in the office. But whatever the sheriff needs of me, I always do. So that's what I do. That's what I roll.
Now you are doing something with the churches now and with the faithbased organizations.
Yes.
What are you doing? What is the Sheriff's Department doing with them?
So in light of the times that we're living in, we, as you all know, recently there was an attack on the church in Wayne. There have been several attacks by unsuspecting people that come in and want to wreak havoc on faith centers.
Right, the center, in terms of, say, the faith-based center that
That's
was up
correct.
in Grand Blanc.
Grand Blanc, and then the one in Wayne as well, which was in Wayne County. And so,
and then I think back to the, not to cut you off, but I think back to what happened in South Carolina.
Correct.
Right.
Where you had the person come in and kill,
yes.
Those 9 members
That's
that were there
correct.
at the church.
That's correct.
In South Carolina. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
So the church is, has always been a target. Well, we can, and again, I'm a believer, so we can talk about how the, demonic attacks, and we can talk about, you go to where the center of faith is, and you can take out a community, and fear is where it starts. And I know that Roy can talk to that because of his background, but, and we live in a time where terrorism is real, and that's all that they're doing is planting seeds of fear. And so when you're afraid to go and worship, no matter whether it's Christianity or Buddhism or wherever you worship, when you're afraid to attend a house of worship, that's the beginning of the erosion of a community.
Right.
And so they are trying to do that strategically. So Sheriff Washington decided that he was going to arm his chaplains and other members of the faith-based community with training around emergency preparedness and active shooter training for houses of worship. And so because of the attack that happened in Wayne, which was in Wayne County, the sheriff said, okay, there's something that we can do here. The sheriff is a CPL trainer, so of course he knows from not only the sheriff aspect, but as a civilian, what needs to occur when these types of things happen. And so he has enlisted his team inside of the sheriff's office to create training. And so we had our first training in October of faith leaders that represent various numbers of houses of worship in Wayne County, to get them armed with the information on what to do in case this happens. And so I use Wayne, the church in Wayne, because that's the most, we talk about it all the time. But what we know is that they had a plan. They had, there's no way that, the assailant can be run over and all the things that happened. It was not by happenstance. It's because they had a plan. And so the first thing that the sheriff wants our faith-based leaders, our faith leaders to know is that you have to have a plan. And so what he's doing is providing this training so that they can identify identify whether or not they have a plan, and then put their plan in place. And so what that does is it allows them to look at their facility and identify places where there could be intruders. It identifies places where if an intruder was to enter, where would you go? Who would you go to? What does that look like? What happens when seniors and children are in the place and you have some people that have disabilities? How do you address those? How do you identify a weapon? Like, what does that look like? What is it? Then what do you do once you see someone with a weapon? Things like that that would occur in those situations. You want the house of worship to have an active plan so they can respond effectively. And so I think we talked about it as well. A lot of times people, they want to just hunker in place. They tell people to crawl underneath the desk or
underneath the pew.
But you want to have a plan that works in certain situations, but not every situation. You want to flee. You want to get out of there. You want to move because you don't want to be a target for someone coming in and shooting. So those are the things that the sheriff's office have put in place in the form of a training session. We had our first one in October. We had about between 40 and 50 people that came in, and they were trained. And then there's a trainer. Once they finish that training, there is a training process where they can become a trainer, and then we want them to train other people, and we want them to also recruit other members of the faith-based community so they can come in and learn how to set their plan in place, and then be able to make sure that their congregation is safe, their building is shored up in case something like this occurs. So the sheriff his goal is to build an army of faith leaders that can not only carry out the plan, but to train and make sure that the goal is to have as many faith leaders in Wayne County be trained and those facilities be safe, so that they're safe havens for the citizens of Wayne County.
So now, if somebody is interested, if there's a church or a pastor or a reverend that's interested in getting that training, what do they do?
They go to www.sheriffconnect.com, which is the sheriff's office website, and they can just click on emergency preparedness and active shooter training for houses of worship. There's a link. They just click on the link. They provide their information, and then the information comes to us, and then we'll set them up for training. There will be 4 training. There will be quarterly trainings next year. So we're in the process of ensuring that those trainings are being filled. So if they want the information, they want the training, all they have to do is go to the website, click the link, and then we'll be in contact with them, and then we'll put them in their respective training.
And then just a couple quick things too, that I know you've got a food drive that
we do, but I guess it's a CNS food drive, and so we don't want to overwhelm the food drive. So it's my understanding that they're at capacity. So I don't want to overwhelm the system. So we want to talk about. We're not. But
it's just showing the good things that the sheriff is doing.
Yes, definitely. The sheriff is involved in the CNS food drive, or turkey drive, and he is always in the community. He always has. He has a. We just did the trunk or treat for Halloween. He does the turkey giveaway for Thanksgiving. I know he's going to be doing some other outreach to communities. They do ride-alongs. If you happen to be riding along and the sheriff pulls you over, you might want to stop because you might get something special. Not a ticket, but you might get a little gift card, or you might get something, because that's the way they show holiday cheer. And so during the holiday times, he also does a shop with the sheriff. But it is not. We don't accept entries from the public because it'll be overwhelming, and we won't be able to handle all of the requests that will come in. But there is an avenue by which we utilize our chaplains as well, and they provide the young people that are that benefit from the shopping with the sheriff. So yes, the sheriff sheriff has also created a community engagement team, and so he has folks that are in the community, both out county and in the city of Detroit, that are participating in block clubs and activities, making sure that the sheriff's presence is in the neighborhood, in the 43 cities and communities within Wayne County.
And so you segue into all of the great things that they do in the sheriff's department.
Yes.
Now they're also recruiting sheriffs.
So since we spoke, Brother Griffin, I was informed that we had a recruitment fair. Well, the sheriff participated in the recruitment fair. Let me go back. In June, we had a recruitment fair. We had more than 1,000 applicants that applied for the sheriff's department. And so, of course, because of backgrounds and different things, 1,000 couldn't be hired. So just recently, we put out another call for some hires, and that produced another 1,000 people. So now we have a wait list. So just as quickly as I spoke to you, I was told that we have a wait list.
But that's a good thing.
It is very
good thing,
well.
right?
I mean, and I would tell you that when I came on board 2 years ago, all of the deputies were on mandatory overtime. And so that was because they had a shortage. They had a shortage in deputies, and everybody heard about it. We knew about it. And so now they're at the place where that is not the case. And so that's a very, very good thing. And so we are very grateful for those that have come and stepped up to serve, in the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. But because we have those 1,000 does not mean people cannot apply. Right. So they're still open. There is a wait list if they're interested in becoming a sheriff deputy. As you know, as they may have heard, the starting salary is like $56,000, and with overtime, they can make up to $100,000 a year for the first year, and you only have to be to 18 years old. So, I mean, if I'm 18 years old, making 100,000. I'm just saying that sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And it's a career.
Yeah.
You start off in the jail, but they have a Marine unit, a mounted unit. They have so many different. They have a secondary road patrol. So there's many things that you can do within Wayne County once you come in as a deputy. So you go to that same link. You go to sheriffconnect.com/apply. And you can just fill out your application, and you'll be placed on the wait list. And when opportunity becomes available, then they will be contacted by our recruiting department.
Okay. Roy, it looks like you may get the last word here.
Well, I just want to say a couple of things. I understand what Erica said about the pantries. I was out this past Tuesday giving out turkeys, and the first car arrived there at 2:30 in the morning. And they were down off 7 Mile, all the way down Lasser, all the way down to West Outer Drive, all the way down to the freeway. So that just goes to show, and they were steady coming. That was the time. And so, I can understand what she's saying because of these times and because of SNAP just now getting back in, people are trying to find ways. Yeah. And regarding the law enforcement, it is good to hear that because at one point in time, I used to teach at ITT Tech and University of Phoenix, and people were getting away from law enforcement. Yes. They did not want to get into the program because what was happening with George Floyd and a lot of others. So it's good to see that people are getting that interest back because I don't care what you say. When things come down, I don't care who says it. When things come out, the first thing they're going to say is, where's the police? Where's the Wayne County Sheriff? Where's somebody to help me? Exactly. So I just wanted to add to that. So that's good to hear. Yes, ma'am.
We're grateful. We're grateful for everyone that supported the sheriff's office in their recruitment efforts, and we had social media influencers, newscasters, everyone joined in to get the word out, and it really worked and helped to change the culture of the environment inside of the jail, especially because those deputies they need help. You can't. It's hard to do that work. If you don't have comrades to do it with you, you need some relief. So working long hours is tough. So we are grateful that we have a wait list now that we can fill those positions and give some of those deputies relief. They don't have to work as hard and long hours.
Yes. Well, we know that Thanksgiving is coming up next Thursday, and I'll ask you, Erica, is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to before we get ready to celebrate this? We only got 2 minutes according to what Tim said. So.
Well, I will shout out my mother, Sandra Hill. Her birthday is on the 26th. So her birthday is the day before Thanksgiving. She'll be 83 years old.
That's a blessing.
I just put her on the plane this morning. She's going to visit my my niece for Thanksgiving, but she will be. I want to give her a shout out and tell her happy birthday because it will be her birthday right before Thanksgiving.
Mr. McAllister.
Just God bless everybody because this is a time where all is needed and God looks down on us and just help everybody. Be out to reach out and support anybody you can.
Well, I just want to say thank you to Pastor Velma Jean Overman. She just celebrated a birthday a couple days ago. And then also my brother, Reggie Griffin. He's going to be celebrating a birthday on the 24th.
Okay.
And then we all know, I think it's probably been shouted out from the universe, that your auntie, Maxine Willis, is going to be celebrating a birthday next week as well.
All right.
So we're not going to give ages, but we're celebrating a birthday.
Amen.
But again, just wanted to say thank you to you, Erica. Thank you to you, Roy, for coming on the show today. And we hope that you two both have a very, very happy Thanksgiving and a great weekend. But also want to thank the senator, state senator, that is vying for your support to be elected in the 10th district of Michigan, Amanda Trepper. And
107.5 FM, WGPR.
we will
HD3.
definitely have a good opportunity to go and do everything that we can to make sure that everybody has a great and safe weekend.
Amen.
Have a good one.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Bless you.